We made muddy tracks in the snow and we're prettying them up. We've been out. Somebody likes her fires in the evening,
Yep.
so have to laugh.
So much I was willing to come out and do it too.
Yeah, Terry told the neighbors, texted, they're away for the weekend, texted, said, we can't even get out to get firewood. And the neighbors said, well, you do have a furnace, don't you? It's coming down. Bombs away. Icicle Row. Well, I'm out checking the electric fence line today. A little break in the rain. Out on the front part of the pasture, which I've had closed off for a few weeks now because of wind and snow, and it brings down branches here and there that will foul the electric. So I have to get back out and walk the fence line, clear everything out. But we have a little bit of a seasonal Babbledy Brook here coming through the place. One of our seasonal drainages with a nice little waterfall here. What's that, about an 18-incher? And it flows on down over onto the Garner's place and down the hill. Well, we're down here at the end of the driveway, and I guess we're getting serious now. Our next roofing date is tomorrow, and this just got dropped off. So, come you know what, or high water, or whatever, I guess we're getting her done. Stay tuned. Me, I'm going to sit here and hold my breath all night. Not. Well, here we are on, I think this is probably the 6th or 7th roofing date for the barn. And already, the trouble is the crew chief comes out last, the guy with the instructions. And so, before I could get my boots on, one of these eager beavers in this truck down here decides he's going to try to drive up to the barn with that. We won't need that forklift, right? It's like, so I don't know now if we'll get the forklift up there. So, like I said, I ain't holding my breath. Well, I don't think there's any way that forklift's making it up. Well, I just came in from working, sitting down changing my boots, and noticed it looks kind of pretty here in the greenhouse. We have what you'd call maybe like a 4-season greenhouse. Whoop, and a mower outside. So we got some pretty flowers, summer type flowers, got geraniums and such. But it's also spring here in the greenhouse. You see here, next to the chairs there. And a little bit of fall left over in front of the spring. I guess fall always comes ahead of spring. So we got some fall. And more summer over there. And look at those beautiful blue flowers. Those may or may not be, what shall we say, authentic. But they look pretty. But all the geraniums are authentic. And we got some nice ferns. And then I guess the winter part of the greenhouse might be represented by what's on my boots. And what was on my boots a few weeks ago, I know I sent some pictures of pretty white Christmas, but a more typical Oregon winter boot would look more like that. So that's what's representing winter in the greenhouse right now. Well, hello there. Today is Thursday, January the 13th, and I've gotten a few requests to check out the shenanigans of the roofing crew and what happened last week and where it's at now, what we're planning. So here we go. All right, well, there's our driveway. And as you go up toward the barn, this is where the roofing crew got stuck. And the crew didn't listen to the crew. I guess the guys didn't listen to the directions. And the first guys out with the dump truck were just tearing this thing up. There are deep, deep ruts in here. They did sort of stay and help shovel it back together. So, but you can see some of the tire marks and such. But they were supposed to wait for the forklift to go up there, but they did not. And so by the time the forklift came up, it was just a mud pit here. And even though it was a four-wheel drive, big tires, you know, tractor-sized tires, it just sat there and spun. And that was empty. So there's no way, if they were lifting a pallet full of shingles up there, no way. So anyway, and they kind of chewed up my little ravine here that I use to divert the water, which is pretty important this year. We've had an awful lot of surface water. I'll tell you about this trench in a minute. But we want that water to divert down this side of the driveway, past the wheelbarrow there and on down toward the utility trailer. Because if this area gets piled too high, which is kind of where it was when we moved in, whoever graded the driveway last pretty much filled up that little swale there. And so then what happens is water comes sheeting down the driveway around the bend and ends up basically in the backyard and really puts a lot of pressure on the septic tanks back there. And because they do leak a little bit of groundwater in there, if it's really saturated, then they're leaking a lot. And because our septic field is actually way uphill, up beneath those two tall fir trees there, it has to be pumped up there. So every bit of water that, you know, goes in there from the house, of course, ends up getting pumped up the hill. But we don't want a whole bunch of groundwater having to pump up the hill as well. And we don't want the septic field flooding out. So we want to keep the water flowing this way. As tore up as this was, I decided maybe now is the time. I've toyed with the thought of laying a French drain through here. And so I've actually kind of started digging it by hand, a little bit at a time, as my back's been kind of grouchy the last couple of weeks, and so I'm going pretty slow, but I'm thinking to go ahead and dig this straight across over to here. For temporary, we threw down some of our wood chips over here as a walking path because the whole thing was tore up. Well, how you doing there? I know. We have not been happy the last few weeks. The pasture is good and green, but if you get down and take a really close look at it, you can see, ooh, didn't mean to spook you. You know, like judging from Buddy's hoofs there, they're not going deep into the grass or anything. So it's kind of a low pile carpet of grass at this point, with a lot of little clovery things, that sort of thing, but not a lot of stuff they love to eat. So They've been looking forward to me coming out every day. Pretty vocal about it usually too. And there's the other one up there. What are you doing, Patch? He's hungry too. And by golly, they're looking just a little bit on the skinny side, aren't ya? Tummies are big, but the rest of your frame is looking a little skinny. So we're trying to keep up with feeding you. Let's go see what we can do about that. Okay, so any more of the boys beat me in looking for their feed. Usually I had to call and wait. Now, will you guys be nice so I can pour this in? Back. One. Okay. Time for the instrument of persuasion. Back. There we go. One. Patch, you want yours? There we go. Back. Two. There we go. All right. I'm probably feeding them 5 to 6 times as much as I would normally. And when they're done, they stand out there and cry for more. So, poor guys. Although, I don't know. There's an awful big tummy here. You too. Maybe you guys need a little bit of a Weight Watchers diet, huh? A little on the soggy side today after we had a couple of rain-free days. This one, for those of you that are keeping track of this stuff, he's got a couple of nubs coming here. Not sure why, but there's a couple of shorties here on underneath the hairdo. There we go. But nothing like calves usually have at this age. So now what are we going to do next? I did mention that. I think what we want to do is go ahead and lay there is, believe it or not, or was, a layer of gravel between here and the apron in front of the big barn door. And I think what we're going to do is maybe bring some more gravel in and have that redone. Soonish, maybe. We'll see. Maybe have the same guy come in, maybe dig the rest of that drain. I don't know, maybe I'll dig it by hand. We'll see. Level this off a little bit so it's not quite as deep, but there's still a little bit of a swale. And then there's a spot right in front of the barn apron I want to have leveled off too. It's kind of a sharp drop off down to that. So do that, put down the gravel, and help me gravel the French drain. And well, stay tuned. We'll see how that goes. Hello there. This is Monday, January the 17th, and I am out in the orchard where you can see behind me is a typical apple tree this time in January. We haven't pruned yet. And we got a new toy here at the farm that I'm just itching to try out. How about that? Battery operated. And see if I get this in the camera. It's handheld, but it also comes with an optional extension. So I'll be able to reach the tippy tops with this. I have something like this that's manual, and it worked well for many years, but what's not working well anymore, or as well, are my shoulders to work it with. So it's getting a little tough to work. But this, I'm hoping, is going to work good. We don't normally do tool reviews here on the Farm Report, but we'll make an exception. We'll see how this goes today. All right. Let's see how this does. Woohoo! Man. I'm gonna like this. we are going to make pruning done in no time. Well, it's always the picking up that takes the time, but we'll get it down on the ground quick. Let's see how it does with some bigger stuff. This is probably 3/4 of an inch right here. Let's see what it does. Whew! No problems. It's supposed to go even bigger than that. So it's about 15 minutes later, and I'm at, there's a cut counter on here. It says 127 cuts, and it's still at 100% battery power. So this is what it looks like without the pole. And man, it's just cruising along. It's pretty impressive. A little on the weighty side, so I might not do it for all the lower end stuff that I can reach with a regular pruner pretty easy, but some of that upper end stuff, yep, I think so. If you're thinking about one, not the cheapest piece of equipment in the tool shed, that's for sure. But we do a lot of pruning here. We got, what, about a dozen fruit trees every winter, and I don't know that we'd use it on the grapes. Maybe the bigger stuff, bigger round, takes care of that. Boy, I cut some nice 1-inch branches with this. It just right through it. So don't get your finger in there. Well, how's that for a pair? Hey there. Ducking right under the electric fence there, aren't you, Patch? Well, Mrs. Farmer sent out some treats for you today, didn't she, boys? Some blueberry mash. We don't usually have blueberry mash this time of the year, do we? But we had thrown a bunch of juice berries in the freezer last summer and said, we'll juice these in the winter when it gets to where we need to have the stove on. So they got some blueberry mash. Nummy, nummy, nummy. So, who's got the cutest calves in the valley? What do you think? I guess if you're wise, you probably say it's Mrs. Farmer. Then you keep getting treats sent out to you, huh? Hello, buddy. Moo. 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 Sniff, sniff, sniff. Hello, buddy. I don't know about that camera and that stick you got it on, do you? Huh? Not too sure about that. Are you telling me Patch is the braver calf? Are you a braver calf? Absolutely. Absolutely. Sniff, 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 sniff. Okay, so here we are a little bit later. And, like I said, it do leave a mess to pick up. And let's see, I've got 89% left battery. So all of that on a single battery with 89% left to go. I'm a little pooped for today, but if I wasn't, I could probably take care of a good 2/3 of the orchard on one battery.